Hello everybody and welcome to another amazing video of DIY investing. I have a special update breaking down one of my favorite ecosystems that is successfully broken out of all descending resistance and is showing the exact reversal that I recently updated you guys about last week. We are now going to be looking to make a lot of profit as all of these markets are breaking out. For today's video, I'm going to be breaking down this ecosystem, breaking down the best altcoins I think are going to provide the biggest gains as well, and sharing with you guys my perspective on how we can all make a lot of money moving forward from here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and with that being said, let's jump right into this amazing video today. Alrighty guys, here we are to start off today's video, breaking down one of my favorite ecosystems. Now we're going to start off with the pulse chain version of HEX, because you remember there's two versions. We have the Ethereum version of HEX, which is the original OG HEX, and then we have the pulse chain version, which was originally duplicated when the airdrop went live, when pulse chain went live, right? So we have a duplicated version. When we saw that airdrop go live, we ended up seeing the Ethereum version crash about 96%, and it kind of just diluted this entire market, which is why we saw such a massive reaction fundamentally as well as in price. So when we see this happening inside of the market, I think that there's a massive opportunity that's playing out because Ethereum version is worth about half as much in market cap as the pulse chain version, and we're still deciding what's going to hold more long-term value. Now when we're looking at the pulse chain version, we've broken out of all descending resistance in the short term as well as the long term. We can see that we had this long-term descending resistance. We broke out of that right here. Got the reversal point. That's when we saw the first higher high. Then we had a new descending resistance right here. Now in my last update, we were consolidating right below it, wondering whether we were going to be breaking out or not. Unfortunately, we sold back down for one more low, but that was an opportunity for everybody to get back in at a better price. Shout out to anybody that bought that. As you guys can see, we've successfully broken out of this descending resistance, and I do believe that we are at a point of reversing. Now, the way that this cycle looks, I think we're heading up to the top of this lower high, being about 2.5 cents. And then if we're looking at the Ethereum version of HEX, I think that we're looking at the same update that I had in the last one, and basically last week, looking at this inverse head and shoulder. This is a massive reversal pattern that's actually playing out inside of the market, looking at the range high and our target taking us all the way over to here, being about 2.2 cents. So when we're looking at this, I think that this one has a very real potential of giving us maybe the better, ROI potential long term, considering our target in the short term is going to be about a 3x. And if I'm looking at the pulse chain version, I think our target's about half as much as that. And even if we ran all the way up to the prior all-time high, that's where we're going to have to see, the price run if we're going to see the same type of ROI potential as what I think is going to be playing out with eHEX. So in the short term, where we're looking at with eHEX, it has been diluted because of the launch of pHEX, right? That's the pulse chain version. So it's hard to say exactly how all of it's going to work out fundamentally, but even if we only go back up to the prior level of the airdrop, you're looking at about a 10x in value. And if we go back up to the high that we made before that airdrop, you're looking at about a 22x. In the last cycle, I bought Ethereum at almost the bottom of its bear market with the COVID capitulation, and I ended up making like 45x at the very peak when it ran up to like $4,600. So 45x, it only has to go to basically the mid-range of our entire cycle, and we don't even have to go nearly to the prior all-time highs to still make a pretty good return long-term, not to mention the staking rewards that you can actually make in the meantime. So if we're looking at it going all the way to the prior all-time highs, that's like a 93x. I just think that the upside potential could be rather massive, even though we've had the dilution taking place with the pHEX. Overall, pHEX is breaking out and it is reversing, and I think that that's an early sign that this is going to do the same thing. This one is actually lagging in the short term, but the thing is once this starts moving, it will probably start moving in very big green candlesticks, kind of like what we saw right here. So once it starts going, don't be surprised if it breaks out really quick and we run back up to this range high, being like 2.2 cents, just to give you guys a good number, before making some type of consolidation. Because if we come up to this level, don't be surprised if we come back down, kind of consolidate around that resistance as well as our breakout point of our inverse head and shoulder. before we start making that next leg up. Overall, this is what I think is going to end up playing out. I do believe that we're going to start a reversal. It's just that we've had such a massive capitulation that everybody's freaked out, everybody's panic sold, everybody's given up on it, and most people are focused on pHEX because it does look a little bit better and the price does break out a little bit better. So I do think that both of these are good investments long term. Just watch out for both of them because there are two tokens now. So if we're looking at the best tokens to be buying in the ecosystem, you can't really go wrong with looking at the main DEX for swapping. This is basically Uniswap over here on the Pulse Chain ecosystem, sitting at about $2.7 billion in total market cap. This one has also broken out in every way. We're going to go to a log scale so it's a little easier to see here. And when we're looking at this, we've broken out of all descending resistance, same thing as what pHEX has done. And we've also broken out of all short-term descending resistance here. We've retested that and we've now made a high above that. If we're looking at the shorter time frames, getting off the log scale, all we're really doing in the shorter time frames is retesting this prior high, and we're going to be getting continuation from this point. I do believe that this is going to be taking us all the way back up to this level at the top of our wave B. When we're looking at this, all it did was this big ABC correction, and I think that we're going to be reverting all the way back up to the top of this B wave, being like 0.000 4452, just to give you guys a specific. I know you guys always get mad that I don't actually say the prices, so hopefully that helps. But this one's also reversing in the same way. So when we're looking, I think that the upside potential with this one is still pretty big. From where we're at right now, just at the top of that level, you're looking at about a 1.2x. And for a high cap crypto, that's really not that bad. And we could extend up here a little bit higher. When we're looking at minimum targets that we can reach based off Fibonacci, if this is a one wave impulse, our minimum target is going to be the 1618. So that's going to be taking us to the minimum, the top of this B wave, which is like a 1x in value. And I wouldn't be surprised if we came all the way up to the top of the 2618, basically being, well, ROI wise from where we're at today, you'd be looking at just under a 2x. So I do think that this one's going to be running in a pretty decent way. Looking at this being a wave 1, getting ready for this wave 3, could extend up here a little bit higher like this. We'll probably have a 4-wave correction, but then that's going to be taking us, as we're just more or less uptrending, higher highs and higher lows, back up to the prior all-time high. Big picture, this is going to go into a new all-time high. All we're doing is the same pattern that all of these markets end up doing, where they're just starting a new cycle, building a new ascending support before, eventually they just kind of go into price discovery. When we're coming over here and looking at Pulse, this one only has $500 million in total market cap. So it's got about 3 times less market cap. And this is the actual native token of the Pulse chain ecosystem. So I don't really think you can go wrong buying this. All we've seen is 5 waves off the bottom. ABC correction back down. We broke out of the descending resistance. The same thing happened over here on PLSX. So both of these are following each other the closest. The only difference was this one's still sitting below resistance, whereas PLSX has actually made a new high above that. So I do think that PLSX is going to continue to lead in the short term. But if we're looking at both of these coming to the top of this B wave, this one's looking like just a little bit less than a 1x. So I still think that PLSX might end up outperforming, considering this is about a 1.3x to this target. But if we're looking at, Fibonacci, this will give us a minimum target. And we're going to be looking at the 1618. So that's only going to give us a minimum target of 80%. We could come up to the 2618, and that would be about a 1.5x. So I think that the ROI is going to be a little bit better with PLSX, especially if we're going to see people using the chain. They're going to gravitate to using over here, considering the fact they need to be able to swap in and out of the tokens they're trying to trade. And this is where they're going to be doing it at. I do believe they've already burned 3% of the entire supply of this based off their burn mechanism. So fundamentally, this is one that could actually fly very high in price long term. So watch out for PLSX, watch out for Pulse Chain. But overall, I think PLSX will end up outperforming. It's just that this one has about 3 times less market cap. So it might be a little bit more undervalued long term. Now, next up is going to be liquid loans. If you're looking for the biggest lending protocol, this one's it. And I think that this one's actually the only one on the market. So I do believe that this one's going to end up doing well long term. If we're going to see the ecosystem grow, people are going to be coming over here looking to use a lending protocol. And this is the one that they're going to end up using. Now with this, we ended up making one more final capitulation right here. But when I look at it, it's pretty much the same as I've seen in other markets. If we come over here and look at Metis, it did this same exact type of a shakeout where we had this sort of consolidation range, made this massive capitulation below, and that's what took us into this breakout. When I look at liquid loans, I think it's pretty much doing the same exact thing. We're pretty much regaining support right here. Don't be surprised if we do something like this before reversing. But big picture, I do believe that this one is actually going to be reversing very soon. That was kind of this final capitulation and shakeout. Where we're at right now to the range highs is about 1.7x. So we're looking at a pretty good risk to reward ratio. And if we go into new all-time highs, I just think that this one could absolutely fly, considering we don't really have much price history. It's going to be, instant price discovery once we break out of 4027. That price. That's where I think that we're going to end up making, a pretty decent sized breakout after. So if you're looking for one of the better coins to be utilized in this ecosystem, you can't really go wrong with liquid loans. So watch out for this one. Now, next up is going to be PHAME or Famous. I actually interviewed the creators of this on my channel. So I have been following this for a little while. Now, we also made this lower low right here after my update, but we've pretty much broken out of all descending resistance. We've been retesting this, consolidating below, and we've successfully broken out of that right here. So we're reclaiming support. I do believe that we're going to be reversing into this new cycle. And if you're looking for another good project fundamentally on the Pulse Chain ecosystem, one of my favorite long-term holds is GMX, and this one is a hard fork of that. So it's literally a copy of that. I'm sure they probably have... I don't know if there's actually a difference at all. They might have just completely copied it 100%. I have no idea. So if you're looking to trade perpetuals in any sort of way, I think that this one's going to end up seeing value just because of the fact it really isn't expensive to use. It's the reason why, Arbitrum has done so well, why GMX on Arbitrum has done well, is because it's a chain that can actually be utilized for low fees. Now, with the Famous token, it's only, valued at sub $16 million total market cap, and it's a fully diluted valuation. So that's even better than GMX. It doesn't have any extra sell pressure being added on side of the market, whereas GMX does have a little bit of inflation. So based off the tokenomics, I won't be surprised if this is actually better and will perform well long term just because of that reason. Now, with this regaining support, I do think that we're kind of at the last moment to be buying at these range lows before we start making a new all-time high. So watch out for PHAME. Alrighty guys, last up on today's video is going to be Teddy Bear. Now this one is going to be the main meme coin of Pulse Chain. Now, I was actually invited to speak at the eHEX conference. Now, during the eHEX conference, Richard Hart actually brought his little teddy bear out and showed everybody, and that's the exact reason why these silly memes end up pumping. And that's the teddy bear that this is based around. So when we're looking at this, I think that all we finished is 5 waves up. Right now, we're either completing or completed our ABC correction back down. And I do believe that we're getting ready for a much bigger move. Wave 3 comes next. That'll be where we go into new all-time highs. And then I still think that we have a whole nother impulse to come after that. Overall, based off a market cycle perspective, this one is doing everything you want to see. We had declining volume and declining price, which is bullish continuation. That's actually a bullish setup. We want to see that as the price is going down, the volume is also consistently going down. And then as the price breaks out, which is what we saw right here, we also saw the volume break out. Now notice how we made this most recent impulse, and we have more consistent cumulative volume than what we saw even in that last impulse. So that's what tells us we're going to have a new cycle. That's what tells us that this is gearing for a new all-time high. And with it only being valued at $11 million total market cap, fully diluted, my favorite thing about these tokens on the Pulse Chain ecosystem is every single one of them are fully diluted valuations. You don't have to worry about all the extra sell pressure that's going to be added from the unlocks of different founding members, from all the founders that participated in the pre-sales and things like that. All of these are just live on the market and everybody's already participating. So I think big picture, all of them are undervalued in their own way. I'm very interested to see what happens with eHEX and pHEX, the battle between both of those. I think that the upside potential in eHEX could still be higher, even though we're actually seeing the value of pHEX outperforming and leading in the short term. But big picture, these two are pretty much the same token. There's not any difference. It's just that one got duplicated, and that's this version over here on the Pulse Chain network. So it was just a great opportunity for anybody to be participating. Yeah, you're down short term in value if you're somebody that had been participating and buying before the airdrop. However, you got duplicated tokens on another network, and the amount of upside potential that I think this entire ecosystem still has, even if you're down, is still going to be really high. So the opportunity to get in is technically better than ever before. Even if you didn't participate in any of the sacrifices, you're actually at a better point of buying right now. And that's why I think that each and every one of these are getting ready to reverse. We're seeing all of the reversal patterns playing out in the main tokens. Pulse Chain is breaking out. PLSX is breaking out. eHEX is on the verge of doing the same thing, in my opinion. Once this reverses, I think that all of these are about to set in a much bigger breakout, and the upside potential in the whole ecosystem is just pretty high in comparison with the rest of the market. So watch out for all of these tokens. If you guys found value in this video, make sure you guys do me a favor by leaving a like, comment, and subscribing to this channel. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these updates. If you guys do want to end up seeing how I'm investing, any signals that I'm posting inside of the Discord server, that's where I post everything, is in a private server on Discord. So if you guys want to see how I'm investing, any coins I'm buying, selling, trading over the course of the cycle, along with where I'm actually going to be taking profits, links are in the description to go ahead and sign up on my website. On my website, you're going to be able to get access to the private Discord server, and once you're in there, you're going to have lifetime access. So I'm going to always be sharing any investments, whether I even take profits on crypto and move into stocks and commodities. You're always going to be able to see how I'm positioning myself. But this one's one of my favorite ecosystems that I think is about to do insanely well long term, and most people are fading it, which is really why the upside potential is so large getting in right now. As we're reversing, I wanted to give you guys an update. I know a lot of people recently got in. I've had a lot of people following me from the eHEX conference and some of these interviews and podcasts I've been doing and live streams. I have a few more planned with some of the bigger influencers in the community, and I look forward to doing that and look forward to meeting more of you guys long term from here. So thank you guys so much for the support. And with that being said, I will catch you guys in the next one. As always, peace out.